Yes, I was backing Roger Patterson up all the time. While he had the camera up, working with it, I was riding back of him. It was a Saturday, sunshiny, bright fall day, October 20th, to be exact. And it was just a warm, sunshiny day, and we were just riding up alongside the creek, on the east side of the creek. And about 4 miles from where we were camped, Roger was just riding. Roger was riding in front of me. I was leading the little pack horse. We were basically going out to camp about 40 miles further out than we'd been riding. We'd been riding, making big circles every day. And so we were going to go on out, so we had a pack horse with us, a small pack horse. And when we were just riding up the creek bed, and Roger was taking pictures of the beautiful colors, of the fall colors of the trees and the brush and all that. And all at once, when we come around a bend in the creek, there one stood across the creek from us. And of course, Roger's horse just went berserk. Well, mine did too, but I was able to stay on him because, you know, I was a pretty good rider back, and I was only 36 years old. So I was a pretty good rider, and I stayed on my horse, and Roger finally, he didn't get actually dumped off his horse, but he got a little help getting off, and he grabbed the saddle bag cover, one flap that he had it on there, and unflapped it and got the camera out and started running across the creek, taking the picture. And he stumbled. It had a kind of a bank on the far side, and so Roger had had the camera up to his eye, of course, and he kind of stumbled and fell down on his elbows. And he wasn't really sure if he got sand or whatever in the camera, because this is all happening really, really fast and excited.
Had you guys gone up there looking for Bigfoot?
Yes, trying to find more evidence. We were called down there with 3 different footprints, 3 different size of footprints around a piece of equipment. And by the time this was Labor Day weekend, and by the time I got down there, or we got down there, there'd been so many humans that come up and walked around and disturbed the tracks, plus it rained also. And so there was no real good footprints for casts or anything. So that's why we kind of stayed and just started riding in big circles. Well, not really circles, just wherever we could go, you know. And we'd usually cover about 25 miles a day, riding through the mountains in different locations. That's why we had decided to travel further, way on back, a lot further back, and look for more evidence, because we hadn't found anything in a month. We'd been riding for a month and hadn't located anything.
How does that make you feel, knowing that you guys have this footage?
Well, it makes me feel really good. Of course, Roger's deceased, has been since 1972, and I can't speak for Roger, but I wish he was still alive so that he could enjoy the advancement that we have created. I say we as the whole, everybody that's involved in it, has created over the years. You know, it started out where if you had seen a Bigfoot, you're a kook, you know, and nobody believed you. So, but now it's a whole different story. There's too many folks that come out with good evidence and sightings and all kinds of evidence. So they can't deny it any longer. And so the last few years has been really good. There's Bigfoot jerky, Bigfoot everything. And so I'm really pleased with the advancement that we have acquired over the years. The first 35 years was difficult. It was, around where I lived, gee whiz, I was a real outcast. And so, and I had a job and all that, you know, and so even, well, the guys that I worked with, they believed in me and stuff, but the other folks didn't, you know, they just said, and my wife worked at a savings and loan institution, and so she worked on the teller line for a while, and they'd come up and say, hey, God, you're Bob Gimlin's wife. You know, we thought that, oh, Bob was a sensible guy, but he goes down there in California and comes up with a weird story that he had made a film of a Bigfoot. So it hurt a little bit. It hurt a lot. And so that's kind of what I went through for 35 years. And then in 2003, the Russian scientists had come over to visit with me, and they had invited me in 1990 to come to Russia, but I was busy working, and I just couldn't get the time off, you know, and I was riding a lot of colts, breaking a lot of young horses. And so then Dmitry Bayanov decided to come to the United States to visit with me and go to the conference that Al Hodson was putting on at Willow Creek, California. And the response was so tremendous that that's what got me back into going to conferences and talking about it and telling my story. And so I've been doing it ever since. I go to conferences all over the United States.
Talk about that day. You guys set out to do a documentary on Bigfoot that day?
The day that we started out, okay, we left camp about 1:30 in the afternoon. A sunny, real sunshine, sunny day, and we got everything packed up in the little pack horse and ate lunch and everything, and we got started out. And of course, Roger was riding in front of me all this time, and he was filming the trees, the beautiful colors, the changing fall colors that everything was changing, and never even thinking that we'd ever run onto a Bigfoot, because we were going to head way on back, about 35, 40 miles farther back, and stay the weekend. And we were only, I say, about 4 miles from where our camp was, just riding along the creek and lazily kind of rolling along there with a sunshiny afternoon, and all at once, boom, there's one standing across the creek. So things started happening dramatically fast. Yeah.
Mount St. Helens. You had said that that's a hot spot for Bigfoot.
Mount St. Helens? Well, Mount St. Helens is was a very mysterious mountain before it blew. There was evidence of a missing people that was never ever located that went up on Mount St. Helens. And over around that particular area, around Mount St. Helens, there was some really strange stuff going on. And it never was proven to be on the shadow of doubt, but there was things happened that was never explained. And so they kind of branded Bigfoot as part of the mysteries. And so Mount St. Helens, yeah, before it blew, was really a hot place to go. It's been kind of a tough subject to deal with, really, in the early days. Not like now, not like there's so much sightings and so much evidence out there now that they can't deny that they don't exist.
A little bit to that specific instance where you actually saw Bigfoot. I mean, tell me a little bit about, afterwards, that takeaway of knowing that you've seen something that most people in their lifetime will never see. How does that make you feel? And then when you actually talk to people who've never seen it, how do you even go about describing what you witnessed as a person?
I'll never forget that few seconds that I did get to see her. It'll be with me the rest of my life. And so I feel like that I was pretty much, well, I won't say I was blessed, really blessed, but however reason or why the reason that I got to be the one that witnessed her, that I'm still alive, makes me feel really good. And there's been so much question about, do you feel that there was a young one, or Well, we never know because there were 3 different sizes of footprints, and this was only about 3 miles from where the footprints were. And it indicated that there was a male, a female, and a youth. So, beings we only saw, well, I didn't realize it was a female at the time I saw it. I didn't know the difference. But beings we saw one, the possibility that there was the other 2 up in the woods somewhere around. And maybe that's why she walked away and did the things that she did. I'll call it she because we did find out later on when they found out she had mammary glands and so forth, that it was a female. And so to make that kind of a little bit plainer, it would be like she might be doing something to detour us away from the other 2, or she might be traveling to where they were, or it was so many ifs.
That moment, do you remember that feeling?
Like, yeah, what
Oh, well, the feeling, oh my God, yes, I remember the feeling. It was just, yes, they really do exist. You know, because I was kind of down the middle of the road. There were so many testimonials that Roger played to me about different folks that had seen them and witnessed tree knocks and tree bent limbs and stuff, and that I was kind of on the idea that, yeah, there probably is something. That's why I went down to see these footprints. That's why I did all the work that I did to get down there to see the footprints, and then they were all disturbed and ruined. And that's the other reason why we decided to stay and ride and look for more evidence. Is that was the only reason. And so to be able to run onto one, it was like, oh, God, there is one. And she's walking away, and I'm trying to hold my horse and stay on my horse until I did ride across the creek and stepped down off the horse, and she turned and made a head turn towards the way I'd be like about from this angle when I rode across the creek, and she was about 200 feet from me at that time, and just made that one turn and never even slowed down. So I had a rifle, and I knew I couldn't shoot if I had to shoot sitting on the horse jumping around. So I pulled the rifle out of the scabbard when I come down on the ground, and I never did raise it up to the shoulder or anything as long as it was walking away. And so there's been a lot of ridicule about, yeah, Bob had his rifle and all of that ready to shoot it. I wasn't ready to shoot it. I just wanted to make sure if I had to, I could get a shot. And so there's a big difference between that and me raising the rifle up to shoot at it. But a lot of folks don't quite understand that. I mean, they probably never realized my hunting ability. I hunted big game all the years before that. I shot a lot of elk and deer and bear, and I was an excellent shot.
And in comparison, I mean, you know, you see all these wild game, all these different kinds of animals. In comparison in size, how much bigger was this thing, and how big would you estimate this thing to have been?
Well, I don't have to estimate. Bill Munns has proven the height over the years of a lot of study of measuring different things and taking the footprints and measuring them. She was 7'3" 3/4 inches tall. So that's pretty good size.
Did that look pretty accurate in terms of what you saw as well? In terms of what you
Well, I never realized, because I was up on top of a 16-hand horse when I first saw her. So when they asked me, I said, oh, she was probably a little over 6 foot tall and massive muscle, you know, just bulk muscle. So I was way off as far, and they said, well, what do you think she weighed? And I said, oh, 300 pounds or more. Well, that would have been light. She probably weighed closer to 800 pounds. You know, knowing what I know now and all the evidence that was presented about it afterwards. But you know, a person will I made a lot of mistakes about different things that they asked me when they first saw the film and then asked me about the film. Yeah, I said, oh, I'm 6 foot or a little over 6 foot. Well, but when I got down on the ground, it was a different story. I mean, but she was a little ways away from me then, and kind of, you can see she's kind of in a slouch position, kind of not really standing up straight. Or I guess that's about as straight as she walked all the time. But when she was just standing alongside the creek, she looked pretty doggone tall. But you know, you got to be careful when you make statements, because then they hold you to it all the rest of your life. And you say, well, hey, you know, it all happened so dramatically fast that I didn't have time to think about a lot of things, because I hadn't planned on seeing one. And seeing one just was boom, 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 boom. And, you know, and so therefore it was pretty dramatic.
The naysayers,
I-
what do you say to them?
I say, well, think whatever you want to think. I know what I saw. And if you've seen the film footage, analyze it and think about it. And don't tell me that they can't exist, and because there's so many people out in the woods all the time that would see one. I'd say, don't even talk to me about that. I said, you know, just think about what you're saying, and if you don't, then that's your ball game. You know, you can think. I said, I'm not out here to prove to anybody that they exist at all. I said, I know they exist. And I say, you know, there's no question. They say, well, is there a little bit of question? Is there a question whether you could have been fooled? I said, no way. No way. Well, we were 36 miles back in the woods. And the closest thing to us was guys up on the side of the mountain, way up high, starting to build a road, a logging road back. And they were way up on the side of the mountain with a bulldozer and road graders and stuff. And I don't even know if they were even anybody up there on a Saturday. This was on a Saturday afternoon, October 20th, 1967. And so we didn't witness any equipment moving up in there or anything, because we could actually see way up on the side of the mountain from where we were riding up the creek bed. So we didn't see any activity up there, or wasn't even looking for it. We wouldn't pay any attention to that, really. We were out there just riding, we had a destination that we were going to, and that's where we were going, and Roger was filming all the trees and the brush and stuff that had the beautiful red and yellow fall colors. And that was, you know, just his mistake, or his error actually would be, you know, to not be ready. I just share my experiences of what happened to me and how it happened and so forth, and take it for what it is.
Not being the one that filmed it, one might even argue that you had the best view, because you weren't trying to handle the camera, you weren't trying to, you actually had the ability to just look at exactly what you saw. Can you tell us maybe something beyond the film itself that someone, like for example, maybe sights and sounds, or smells and sounds regarding the Bigfoot that you encountered?
Well, yeah, when I first saw the film footage, I thought, that's nothing. That, you don't, guy, he never really got anything that was good, because I was looking at it through two blue eyes, and Roger was with the camera, and the film footage that he got was, well, I finally decided that it's pretty good, but the first time I saw it, I said, that's nothing. That's nothing. I saw so much more of everything. of the muscle movement, and I was looking at it all the time. Roger had to relocate 2 or 3 different times to get a little closer, and well, that's why I rode across the creek and took the rifle out of the scabbard, just because he said, "Well, Bob, can you cover me while I go and get in another area?" Because he wasn't sure that it was all alone either. He didn't know whether the other two, because there was 3 different size footprints, whether the other 2 was there somewhere around. So anyway, there was so much stuff that went on about that over the years, and it's settled down a whole lot because people are seeing them now and witnessing them and witness what they do. And there's actually folks that claim they communicate with them.